I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
The gunfighter is over. If he ain't so tough, there's been an awful lot of sudden natural deaths in this vicinity.
I was wondering how high you were going to go with that. Wow. You could have kept going up.
I should have practiced more on that. The Gunfighter, Andy, what a movie. Holy cowboys.
Oh, look at you. Look at you pulling a little Holy Cowboys.
I hadn't seen it.
I hadn't either. I'm glad to have had the members pick this. You know, in the scope of our member bonus, we're right in the middle of our Platinum Performances, the 1950 Best Actress Oscar race series. And so we threw out a whole bunch of other 1950 Oscar nominees, and this won. So here we are, Platinum Performances, the 1950 Best Writing Oscar race.
Crazy.
With The Gunfighter. I was debating starting with the Best Writing Oscars, or do we want to start with the movie?
I want you to just start. It's your special day. I want you to start where you feel good. You want to start with writing? Let's start with writing.
I just think that it's an interesting, this isn't the kind of like the studio era of Hollywood lent to this, like the only reason this Oscar category really existed is because of the studio era, the Best Writing Oscar, because you had the Best Writing Oscar and then the Best Screenplay Oscar. And Best Writing is that story by credit that we still see today sometimes. It's like, who came up with the idea before somebody else went and actually crafted a script out of it, put dialogue in it and everything? This was that era that once the studio system kind of faded away, so did this Oscar category. They're like, oh, we don't really need this category anymore. It ended in 1956, I think, was the end of it. So I think that's interesting. So in the scope of this film, that's how it came to be, because it started as this story written by two writers, William Bowers and Andre de Toth. Andre de Toth is also a prominent filmmaker. They wrote this story specifically for John Wayne, reportedly, because they thought it would just be a great story for him. And then they went to pitch it to him, and John Wayne loved it. And he offered William Bowers $10,000. And William Bowers was like, well, I think it's worth more than that. And John Wayne said, well, you wrote it for me. Don't you have any artistic integrity? And then apparently Bowers didn't, according to Wayne, because then he went and they sold it to Fox, 20th Century Fox, for apparently $70,000. And then Fox was going to try getting it made, but they couldn't do anything. And so they sold it to Columbia Pictures. And John Wayne was still interested, but he refused to work on it because Harry Cohn, who ran Columbia, had mistreated him when he was a young contract actor. And apparently there was also a woman involved between the two of them and all this sort of craziness. And so John Wayne's grudge was so deep that they did nothing with it, or Columbia did nothing with it. That's when they sold it. Sorry, I had it backward. They sold it to 20th Century Fox, who then went ahead and cast Gregory Peck in the role. And Gregory Peck ended up winning a Silver Spurs Award for Top Western Star of 1950. And John Wayne said, well, who the hell decided that you were Best Cowboy of the Year? So he apparently is quite grumpy about the whole affair. So I just think that's kind of a funny thing. And just as an interesting little historic footnote, this story was sitting in the files over there at Fox, and no one was really paying attention to it. And one of the people who worked there as a young, I don't know, at this point, a young reader, Roger Corman, he found the script and he actually is like, this is great. He actually put a whole bunch of notes on it and everything. And he showed it to one of the producers over there, who was like, oh, this is great. The producer went and turned it in and took credit for finding it himself. Roger Corman was really pissed that the producer, who we'll talk about, Nunnally, ended up getting the credit for having found the script. And that actually prompted Roger Corman to quit Fox. And then he went to Oxford and then started up not started up his own, but he wanted to do stuff more independently. And that's when he started working with AIP and became who he was. So in a way, this film is why Roger Corman is who he is.
Bless the fates and sliding doors, Andy.
Crazy world, isn't it?
That is a crazy world. I just want to make sure I understand the credits, because I think you said this is by Bowers and Toth, but on IMDb
as the story credit.
Right. IMDb, but did you mention William Sellers? Because he's the other one who has the screenplay by credit.
I didn't, because he ended up writing it after this whole thing happened. So they had done the story. So there was no script at this point. It was just essentially a treatment is what the story is.
Yes.
And that's what Roger Corman found. Roger Corman wrote all of his notes, gave it to Nunnally. Nunnally's like, this is great. Look what I found. And
stabbed Corman firmly in the back.
Exactly. And then
drama ensues.
That's when they went and had Sellers work on the script. So
got it. Okay. So this movie fits in a really interesting place and we've talked about some of these bridge westerns before, right? Where the 50s and 60s saw this kind of transformation where the frontier hero is kind of fading away. And we have these guys who are, maybe would have been celebrated heroes in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, but now are reckoning with the weight of their past choices. And that's where this movie kind of fits. He's no longer this like righteous and rugged and victorious hero. He's a guy who killed a lot of people and now recognizes the regret that he has to live with, the weight of his celebrity. And I'm fascinated by the fact that's fundamentally the story. His turn is something that happens before the movie starts, where he realizes, I need to go back to this town and I need to, get back together with my lady and see my son that I've never really seen. And I need to make a life for myself now that is more than just running and gunning. And it ends up being this super reflective kind of journey. But the rest of the world of young cowboys are out to get him, to prove their mettle. And so he can't, this is such a testament to not being able to outrun your own celebrity. And it's fascinating. And I see it, and you tell me that John Wayne was into it, and I don't see how this could have been anyone other than Gregory Peck.
With that mustache.
I could take or leave the mustache.
The studio head hated the mustache so much, he actually, when the movie didn't perform well at the box office, he actually told Gregory Peck, that mustache cost us $1 million. So,
well, yeah, I don't know about that, but I do think there is something to Peck's kind of internalized performance here. Like he's just so incredibly thoughtful about what it means to be this kind of person.
Hey there, all you hard-boiled Western aficionados. Andy here, and I've got a proposition that'll make you want to saddle up and ride into the heart of darkness. If that little taste of our latest discussion got your trigger finger itching and your sense of frontier justice tingling, then it's time to upgrade to the full throttle experience by becoming a member. When you join our posse, you'll gain access to a whole cache of exclusive content, including monthly member bonus episodes that'll take you on a gritty journey through the world of cinema. You'll also unlock bonus content from our other shows, like Sitting in the Dark, CinemaScope, and The Film Board. It's like stepping into the most intense movie saloon ever, without the risk of getting caught in the crosshairs of a deadly showdown. As a member, you'll enjoy early ad-free access to all our shows, allowing you to leave the tenderfoots behind and experience our content the way it was meant to be heard. Plus, you'll have the power to help shape our discussions by voting on upcoming member bonus episodes of this show. Our Discord community is open to everyone, but as a member, you'll have the chance to really make the membership channels crackle with the tension of a Mexican standoff. Picture a virtual back room where you can swap movie recommendations, debate the finer points of the history of Westerns, and generally geek out with some of the most passionate cowpoke cinephiles around. So, what are you waiting for? Head over to truestory.fm/join to sign up today. That's trustory.fm/join. For just $5 a month, or $55 for the whole year, you'll get a VIP pass to the most thrilling ride in podcasting. Once you've experienced the full, unfiltered glory of our latest discussion, you'll be ready to mount up and ride with us into the sunset. Don't just take my word for it. Join the crew and find out for yourself. We'll be waiting for you.